Hi, this is Brennan Davis from Bedrock Games. It's very early, so I apologize if I seem groggy. But I wanted to talk today about bootlegs. And the reason I want to talk about them, I know I've mentioned them in the past, but I get a lot of martial arts movies on Amazon, and I've noticed lately they've been flooded with bootlegs to the point that I've even accidentally gotten them myself and had to send them back. Um, you know, growing up, bootlegs were pretty common with martial arts movies, especially when it was hard to get, like the actual, authentic version. Uh, but now that's not hard because you can easily, get movies from Hong Kong or whatever. And so I just wanted to, just to illustrate sort of the difference because you can see it right away when and a lot of times when you see when you're on Amazon or on eBay or wherever you're buying these things, or if you're in a store, and I've seen them in stores, I've seen them on Amazon, I've seen them on eBay. The bootlegs are pretty identifiable just from the cover alone. There's a movie that I really love called The Assassin with Jimmy Wang Yu, and this is an example of the proper cover. This is a Celestial, pictures, fully restored. It's got the IVL logo on it. This is a real version of The Assassin. The image quality is good. The sound quality is good. I really enjoy this movie, and this is a copy of it that I recommend if you can find it. But if you go on Amazon right now, you're likely to see this cover. And in a lot of cases, I'm not 100% sure if this is if they're just using this cover to sell it and sending you this one. But a lot of times, and usually when you see this cover, that's what you're getting. And this is a bootleg. This is not a legit copy. This is you can see that little logo down there. It's gonna look like crap. It's gonna sound like crap. You're gonna think it's a horrible movie because you got a bootleg. Uh, and I wouldn't mind if this one was impossible to get, but it's only becoming impossible to get because movies like this are flooding Amazon, and Amazon isn't really doing anything about it. So I'm I'm a little bit irritated because again, if there was a poverty of the Celestial Pictures movies, I'd say fine, but there isn't. And so what's ending up happening is for pretty much the same price, you have to get the crappy bootleg if you want to see it. I got this one on accident. I don't buy bootlegs as a general rule. I'm using this to illustrate a point. When I get bootlegs, I send them back, and I contact the seller. But the thing is, a lot of these sellers they know that they're selling bootlegs, uh, and they put it up anyways. And Amazon doesn't really do anything to stop it. And that wouldn't be an issue, except what that ends up doing is the companies that have the legitimate versions of it, they end up not making them because they get undercut by bootlegs. So and I think it hurts. I think it hurts the movies because you don't have like the quality of the image matters, the quality of the sound matters, the the accuracy of the subtitles matter. I've seen dubbed or not dubbed. I've seen subtitled bootlegs that have completely incorrect subtitles on them, or they'll be correct halfway and then halfway through they just completely change. And almost without exception, the film quality is horrible. A lot of times you get like this weird blue tint or something over it, and the movie looks 10 times more crappy than it really should. And so I think it just I don't know. I mean, I know that there's like a certain charm to bootlegs, and I certainly remember them when I was a kid, but I don't think there's like really a valid excuse for them anymore. And I think it hurts the the movies themselves. So I want this movie in this format to be available for as long as possible because this is a great movie. Just like I want The Wizard of Oz to be available. And imagine if like The Wizard of Oz, you could no longer get a legitimate copy of it because some douche was making like a bootleg copy in his basement and selling it for $5. Um, and then what ends up happening is that, and then it's when the competition's gone, then the price just goes up. Uh, so yeah, so I am increasingly anti-bootleg. There's always, when I was younger, there was like a soft spot in my heart for it, but now, and I can understand if people are like living in an area where they literally cannot get the legit copies. That's different. Or it's like $150 for a legit copy of something because it's no longer being made. I sort of get that, but when bootlegs are just flooding the market, it just ruined, like literally in the past 2 years on Amazon, it's gone from being, all Celestial Pictures, all like if you found a movie on Amazon in order to, you were going to get the legit copy, to at least like 50% bootlegs now, and it's not always clear that that's what you're getting, and so I find it frustrating as a customer. I find it infuriating as a viewer because then if you do get the bootleg and you even try watching it, it looks like utter garbage. And it's not helping Amazon. It's not helping Wuxia fans. It's not helping anybody except the bootleggers. So I think that I don't know. I think they really should do something at Amazon about it. And I think if you get a bootleg and you didn't want one, you need to let them know. There's a great movie called Wing Chun, and it's almost impossible now to not get anything but the bootleg version, and the bootleg version looks like total garbage. There's a lot of that going on with movies right now, and that's a great movie, and you shouldn't have to watch the inferior image quality of it. So again, sorry to rant and rave. The good news is with streaming, I found that you can get a lot of these movies streaming properly. So if you get, like you can go to the Shaw Brothers site or whatever, and you can get them there, or link to the where you can get them streamed. But I like having them in hard copy because I don't trust my digital library to not vanish, and there's something about having the physical copy of the movie. I do stream and I do purchase like movies on iTunes, or purchase them on Amazon streaming services, but I really like having them in the hard copy. It's just it's a more reliable format. Sometimes with streaming you get weird digital distortions. I think the image quality tends to be a little bit better on a DVD or a Blu-ray, and again, I just like having the physical version. So maybe in 5 years when there are no more DVDs, this won't be an issue. But I'd at least like for the next 5 to 10 years when DVDs and Blu-rays are still around, for when I buy them, for them to be the actual movie that I ordered, and not some crappy bootleg by Bonzai Entertainment or whoever is making the bootleg these days. There's a few companies. If you see the logo, you basically know you got a bootleg. But again, it's this wonky, like I don't quite know how to describe it, but usually like the logo is too big. There's usually that weird red thing on top. It does have the Shaw Brothers logo, but the logo you really want to see on a Shaw Brothers movie is the Celestial Pictures logo. So yeah, so I am not a fan of these bootlegs. I will end this now before I get more enraged. But yeah, it's just this has happened to me, I'd say about 4 times in the past 6 months, where I've gotten bootleg copies when I didn't want them, and in every case the image quality was inferior, the sound quality was inferior, the subtitles were often questionable. In one case, out of the 4, I was able to get the real proper version of the movie, and the other ones I just wasn't able to find them. So yeah, so not a bootleg fan. I think Amazon's got a huge problem with bootlegs right now, and I really think they need to do something about it, because people shouldn't be getting bootlegs when they don't want them. So, all right, I know this is a bit of a tangent. I don't normally do the negative things on things that irritate me, but every once in a while I get fed up with something, and I'm really fed up with getting bootlegs on Amazon. So I'll leave it at that. All right, talk to you later.